or cheap? And which do you prefer? Having this feeling that we're gonna break some tables today. But then again, peace is priceless. Peace is a part of the prosperity of a nation. Let us give peace a chance as far as this conversation is concerned. I look forward to having a great time with you. I look forward to hearing from you, most importantly. You see, it's a good thing to listen to conversations on Nigeria Info. But it's even far better when you can be a part of the conversation by having your voice heard, either by sending us a message or by calling in due time. Now, we go on a commercial break, and when we come back, the conversation starts in full. Just stay tuned to us. We are Nigeria Info. Welcome back to the sunny side, and thank you for staying tuned to us. The morality of purchasing distressed property. Permit me to define some of the terms as it concerns this particular conversation. Morality. What is the meaning of morality? Principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong or good and bad behavior. I take that again. Principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong or good and bad behavior. A particular system of values and principles of conduct. The extent to which an action is right or wrong. I'd like you to take note of that particular definition. It's a noun. The word morality is a noun, by the way. Now, this is not English class, but hey, for us to fully digest the conversation we are currently having, I think that we should define all terms and concepts. So the extent to which an action is right or wrong. Example, the issue of morality of the possession of nuclear weapons. Similar words to morality or synonyms. We have ethics, we have rights and wrongs, we have correctness, we have ethicality, we have virtue, we have goodness, we have righteousness, we have uprightness, principles, morals, decency, moral standard, rules of conduct, integrity, honesty, probity, moral codes. These are all synonyms of the word morality. Purchasing simply means to buy, to acquire. I mean, when you go and buy something, you have purchased it. It becomes yours. You are now the new owner. To acquire something by paying for it. To buy something. What other term do we need to define distress? So, distress will simply mean extreme anxiety, sorrow, or pain. Extreme anxiety, sorrow, or pain. Cause someone anxiety, sorrow, or pain. That is as a verb. As a noun, it means extreme anxiety, sorrow, or pain. So synonyms of anxiety, of distress is anguish, suffering, pain, agony, affliction, torment, discomfort, heartbreak, misery, wretchedness, sorrow, trouble, worry, despair, unhappiness, dissolution. What other term do you think we need to define? Property. Oh, something you own. And it could be anything. A landed property, your car, your mobile phone, your laptops. But something you own that you're willing to give up for sale at this point. So it then becomes a distress sale. A distress sale refers to the sale of assets, such as securities and property, very quickly and generally at a loss to urgently cover significant debts. A distress sale is made when the seller is going through financial pressure and in dire need of funds to meet urgent requirements. The proceeds from a distress sale are used to pay for maybe medical expenses or other emergencies. Don't you agree with me that some of us have emergencies as we speak? My emergency may be medical. Yours may be feeding, paying your child's school fee, something that just happened out of the blues. Now, let's look at a car, for instance. I saw the story on the Vanguard and it was titled, Economy, More Nigerians Sell Off Cars to Feed Families. Please walk with me. This may take a while, but like I said, it is because I want in-depth understanding of the conversation. Owning a car was among the many lists of achievements for a typical Nigerian before now. I mean, the celebration that hits the air when one is bought knows no bound. Praise the Lord! Hey, woo! John has bought a car. My son has a car. Oh, I am not the mother of a car owner. My husband just bought a brand new car. My brother just bought a car. I just bought a car. Celebrate with me. Parents, relatives, and friends are gathered. In fact, they want to wash the car. And the genie is used to render prayers to various gods to save the life of the car owner and the car itself. This car must not bring problems to you. He said, this car will not get you into any accident. He said, this car will not develop for that you spend money to fix. He said, however, the situation of the country now is making car owners sell off their cars, at least to feed properly. Go on social media. Go on Instagram. You see something like this. Distress sale. Fairly used. Is it fairly used? Fairly premium used. Fairly used Toyota 2016 model. Everything working. Engine sound. AC chilling. 4-wheel drive. V6 engine. V4 engine, XLE, XE, asking price, XYZ amount, slightly open to negotiation or open to slight negotiation. Something like that. That's how some of the messages are structured. Economy and Lifestyle discover that even those who want a car now buy the Nigerian used ones instead of those imported into the country, popularly known as Tokunbo cars. Today, owning a car doesn't count as an achievement anymore. A lot of people have their cars parked because they can't fuel it. It's now a luxury for them. I mean, why fuel a car when you're not eating well, your family is not eating well? And even some of the people that buy off these cars are buying them because they want to start the e-hailing business. You know, the commercial transportation, like all the ones that you know. So those purchasing these Nigerian used cars, investigations have revealed that they do not even do it for pleasure, but mostly to make money. Some people even share their stories of how they had to sell their car off distressedly after parking it for months due to inability to fuel it in this increased fuel pump price regime. I'm very sad at the present living condition of many Nigerians. It is difficult to feed these days. I had to sell my Toyota Camry 2006 model after parking it at home for months. Buying fuel is expensive and business is not moving at all. The most important thing now is to stay healthy, and feeding is a major part of it. Now, away from cars, what about people that are selling off their properties? A bungalow, 4-bedroom bungalow, distress sale. 4 plots of land, 8 square units at Rupaku, going for distress sale. Nicely furnished, going for distress sale. And people will go into the DMs to ask, how much? When can I come for inspection? And then you try to ask, why are you actually selling off this property? And they tell you, Omo, things are hard. I cannot be hungry and I have property to sell. And you tell me not to sell it. But you know, if you keep this land now, in the next so years, it will appreciate. You will sell it, say, wait, face, I need to solve problem now. Are you buying or you are not buying? Some people look forward to these opportunities to buy these properties and even resell them at the original market value. So you're selling off your car that you probably got for 7 million naira at the price of 4 million naira because it's a distress sale. Someone specializes in buying these cars from you and eventually buys it for maybe 2.8 million and then goes back to resell your car for 6 million naira or even more. And you see the person drive past you and you ask yourself, had you taken the right decision? Did you take the right decision? Now, this is my question to you. I hope I didn't bore you with all of the explanations. Please, if I did, I sincerely apologize. But tell me, what do you think? Would you consider taking over distressed properties as preying on struggling individuals and family? Think about it. Now, when you've thought about it, pick up your phone. I'd like to hear from you. Call the numbers 0817 923 0002. That is 0817 923 0002. We also have 0817 923 0003. That is 0817 923 0003. Send us a WhatsApp message. If I can't hear your voice, at least I can read your messages. And it's all the same thing. 0809 030 6416. 0809 030 6416. That is the WhatsApp and Telegram number. Join the conversation on X at Nigeria Info PH is our X handle, and our Facebook page remains Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. Now, our call screener is in standby to take your calls first before passing you on to me in the studio. So when you do call, the first voice you would hear will not be my voice. One is messaging me, they're rebooting, so I just have to take the calls directly then. Nigeria Info, good afternoon to you and welcome.
Fine afternoon, Didi.
Fine afternoon to you too.
Yes. Nede Barine calling from Boba, local government.
Nede Barine, you're welcome. How do you do?
You have knowledgeably inculcated us this afternoon with what is affecting human beings, entirely the society. And selling things and properties in distress is an issue that we may look at it as a nation that is falling. When there is a problem on the income effect, you discover that there is going to be a lot of substitution, which also is substitution effect. The buying strength, the purchasing power of what can sustain somebody, an individual or a family head, is a problem. And morally, it's what to be so, because you can't have property in this period we are, whereby the inflation is trailing day in, day out. What you had in the morning, the afternoon, the thing has gone to a high point. You will sell off because the desirable is not available. Your property that you have, what you also have, becomes the available one that can sustain paying school fees and even buying fear to enable your water. But on the other hand, we can also assess that it's half time people should be able to know how to hold money, how to manage. Because normally when people were having this excess surplus, getting money, you see someone day in, day out, you see adding cars, making it up to 5, even when some people does not even have machine to drive. But the society is giving us a lesson that we must hold firm for an economy. Know how to manage, don't accommodate excessively. So the time like this will always come. Inflation must always rise. So selling what you have is only for you to survive. Because if you don't survive, you may not know whether maybe sometime like we are, the educational or economic planners will make it somehow we can afford. So I think you are on the right point this month.
All right. Thank you so much. Tonya is calling from Okrika. Oh, so sorry, Tonya. Zion from GRA. How do you do?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Okay.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Go ahead.
Your topic is relevant and is a reality today. Last week, Wednesday and Thursday, I said, let me just tour around the city. And guess what? I went to a particular area. People are selling off their cars. These are cars with plate numbers, not new cars. Plate numbers. What does that tell you? The economy is biting. But let me be honest to you. They missed it. That is not the right thing to be done.
Okay.
There is a course subject in our secondary school then, which they call commerce. I wonder how many of us still remember that subject.
I remember commerce.
And in one of those speeches, the teacher then told us that in that times, when the economy is soft, selling on property is not the best. What you should do is to use the value of that product. For instance, if it is housing, instead of you sell your house, why don't put it on a rentage for lower rates and wait until the economy will be balanced? He also stated this thing carefully. If you sell your property because the economy is soft, you are going to regret it later when everything is stable. He said that teaching from JS2. How many years? It's still on my head. Or things like this my small. So when you see them sell, it is because they don't have this knowledge. For your information and for the benefit of this conversation, a colleague of mine last month bought a car for 1.2 million under distress sale. On original cost, this car is supposed to be going for about 8 million naira. He bought it 1.2. Guess what?
What?
I pleaded with him. If you see this kind of neat car again, I beg, tell me. Everybody subscribing.
Now brings us to the conversation, the question I asked. Would you consider taking over distressed properties as preying on struggling individuals and family? Because, like you rightly said, you know the original market value, and you're buying it for almost nothing because this person is selling off, owing to the fact that the person is in distress.
They perish for lack of knowledge. You are not preying into any family. You are not taking advantage over them. They only perished because they lack knowledge. Those cars are just told they're being put on sales now. If those owners are wise, if they have studied commerce in school, they would have given these cars either for higher purchase, which means they can revert it later, or they give entrusted, go and run a taxi, or they put it on a franchise to all these companies who are running Port Harcourt, Lagos, Warri, and the rest.
Okay.
Franchise your car.
Franchise your car, he says. Muriel from Okrika. Hi, Muriel. Welcome to the sunny side. Go ahead.
Yeah, Denise, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Denise, any person buying a distressed property should not feel guilty. Honestly.
Okay.
You shouldn't feel guilty because you did not force the person. In fact, at that point, you're helping the person because the person is desperate. And it's only when you go to the person, you know that the person is passing through an issue, a serious issue, then you now go to suggest to the person, and that your house, tell them now where you get problem. All those kind of things. That means you're taking undue advantage of the person's situation. But if the person comes to you and looking for buyers for their property, and you go and ahead to buy, you shouldn't feel guilty. You should know that at that point you're helping the person, but you shouldn't take advantage of the person. You know that you know the market value of that property. And even if it's a car, now that's why I say a car is not an asset. No matter how beautiful it is, cars are not assets, honestly. In fact, they are liabilities. So you know the market value, and you know that maybe the person has not used it too much, or maybe the person has used it, you know the worth of it. You know that at that moment the person is throwing it out to you, just dashing you. You shouldn't further, because you know that the person is desperate, further reduce the price to a despicable amount. Just in fact, that means that you should feel guilty, and that means you're taking advantage of the person. You know that one day, let me just give a very short story. I went to Rumokoro Market to buy something, and I was passing. You know that they sell shoes along the road. They just got shoes, these second-hand shoes. Yeah. And I saw one very beautiful shoe, heel, suede, very beautiful shoe. I said, what? This shoe in the market, in fact, more than 2 years ago, when I bought that shoe, I bought one 15,000, and I know I managed to struggle to buy shoes. Two pair. I tried, because I really love them for work. And this lady, when I came down, and I asked her how much. She said, she told me 7,000. So I now said 3,000. She said, no, that she won't sell. I said, okay, let her give me 4. She said, it's 5 last. As I wanted to leave, she was now saying, it's not a problem. I'm not for sell this shoe. I just don't want to go and beg. Let it be that I sell what I have. Then I just came back, and I do nearby POS, and I gave her the money. I took the shoe. That shoe is so beautiful. When I showed people that today, they were shouting. I said, this is just once in a lifetime opportunity. And the woman had the shoes. You will know that she was pained to sell out that shoe. Wow. So I think when you're buying a distressed property, you're actually helping the person. I don't feel guilty because I know that at that moment I helped her solve the problem.
Okay. You don't feel guilty because you feel you helped them solve a problem. Joseph from Rumiwo waited for so long. I had to speak to 3 people before getting to him. So Joseph, please, if you do not mind, please do well to call back. Someone says, good afternoon. I don't agree with you, especially on the landed property now being sold, because there's some areas just a quarter or half a plot now sells for as high as 30 million. Well, you may choose not to agree with me, but I wouldn't come on air and say something that I did not research. Maybe nobody is selling off in your area, but people are willing to sell. Let me just take you down memory lane. People have sold off properties to take care of a health challenge. People have sold off properties in those days to send their children abroad. You know, you see the search for greener pastures. Some families are willing to sell off their properties. Yeah, it may not seem like a distress, but you see, they're thinking long term. They're thinking that if this person goes abroad, this person, maximum 1 year, this person will start sending money home to take care of all the needs of this family. And in no distant time, this person should be able to buy back the how many plots that we sold to send this person abroad. Think about it that way. What about people that had to sell off properties to emergencies come up? Emergencies from nowhere. The truth of the matter is I can't sit here and say, oh, this is your emergency or this is this other person's emergency. Emergency to you can come in any form and fashion. However, the fact that you would have to relinquish something that you had bought for a high price because you just need money to solve, even to eat, it's distress. And I did explain the meaning of distress. Maybe I should go back to it again for you to understand. Distress can be defined as anguish, suffering, pain, agony, affliction, torment, torture, discomfort, misery, trouble, despair. Someone hit somebody some days ago and they held on to the person and said, you would treat this person. And if this person dies, you're going to pay the family compensation. And the person is running up and down now to gather money to be able to solve that problem that just came from nowhere. Is it not a distress? Dakuku from Eche, welcome to the sunny side. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Nigeria. Good afternoon, sunny side.
Good afternoon to you.
This is Dakuku calling from Apokiche. Let me tell you, my sister, a land property is something you have. When you have a problem, people always use it to solve problems because if they can learn them to borrow money, they cannot get they're able to sell off their land in order to solve that problem. Not to present yourself or be thinking about the problem. Are you getting my point?
I get you.
So that is the normal thing over it. That's what to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Sunday is calling from Thai. Oh dear Sunday, please, I would love for you to call back. Permit me to go on Facebook and read some of your Facebook messages. Where do I start? Chile Edwin says, buy what is cheap to you and forget morality. Buy what is cheap to you and forget morality. Engineer Afirim Henry says, good afternoon. I think sale of a distressed property to ensure I meet up with the rainy day is the best I can do to move on. Ananobi Onyeka Chike says, good afternoon, Constance. My name is Denise. I mean, it's clearly stated on the live video. It's Denise. I look or sound nothing like Constance. Well, back to your message. Possessing distressed properties is never an act of praying at any family, neither is it an act against humanity. Like the name implies, distressed sale, it means that there is an already existing pain or unfavorable condition in the family that is offering their property for sale that only the intervention of the purchaser can save, or things will go wrong. In other words, on the side of the seller, selling such a property brings succor. While on the side of the purchaser, I see it as partly fulfilling the scriptures in John 4:8, and I quote, I sent you to reap that wherein ye bestowed no labor. Other men labored, and ye have entered into their labors. Conclusively, it is the condition of government that subjected this seller to selling his property below cost price that is preying on the seller and not the purchaser. Selling one's property when things go the other way around is one of the reasons why people own properties. If you don't sell, such condition might consume you. So it's a win-win thing. Personal opinion though, I remain my humble self, Ananobi Onyeka Chikesi. Kenneth is calling from Eliozu. Kenneth, what happened? I really love to hear from you. Alex says, good afternoon, Ma. Alex here from Majib. That's a complex question. On the one hand, buying up distressed properties can be seen as a way to help those who are struggling by providing much needed funds. On the other hand, it could be seen as an advantage of vulnerable people and profiting from their misfortune. There is no easy answer, and it's probably depending on the specific situation. Nigeria Info, good afternoon. Go ahead. Hello. Hello. Oh dear. So sorry about that. We need to go to commercial break. When we come back, the conversation continues. Remember, we also have trending stories come up at 1 o'clock. And then after trending stories, we'll come back and find a way to round off this conversation. Let me see if I can quickly read this one before we go on the break. Oh, no, there's no point rushing it. So do be patient with me. We're talking the morality of purchasing distressed properties. And I am asking, would you consider taking over distressed properties as preying on struggling individuals or families? I'm Denise Dennis Walu. So the sunny side of Nigeria Info FM. Do stay tuned to us. Station for Talk 90.3 Nigeria Info FM. If you're just joining us, welcome. If you've been with us, thank you so much for staying tuned. We're still talking the morality of purchasing distressed properties. Permit me to read some more messages, and then we go on the news break. And then I recap everything that has been said so far, and then I continue taking your calls and reading your messages. I hope that works for you. Now, this message here reads, you just made me laugh, reminding me of how we celebrate our anniversary of new cars in Nigeria. It was always amazing and a happy moment, but now it's not the same feeling anymore. Yes, I concur to the fact that this time such kind of buying and selling is very common within. But I must be honest, anyone a better and profitable sales must wait for the next economic recession, or else when you sell your valuable for less, you lose. Thank you, presenter. Your topic is very timely. I am Steve, Best Bodo City. Value and preferences may shift in the face of current reality of life. Sale of one's property should reflect current market offer, which is trade justice. When distress is used, we must understand that the potency of the need to sell has overridden the value of the said product or property to the seller. Remember the hierarchy of relative prepotency? It applies to people differently. This is from Joseph Omokwa. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, please, you would have to forgive me. I think I want to read this particular message again. Value and preferences may shift in the face of current reality of life. Sales of one's property should reflect current market offer, which is trade justice. When distress is used, we must understand that the pertinency of the need to sell has ever read the value of the said product or property to the seller. Remember the hierarchy of relative prepotency? It applies to people differently. From Joseph Omoka. You know what? We'll take a pause at this time. We'll go on the news break. Keep your messages coming. And those of you who still want to call, you should call, by the way. Hold on. The conversation continues after this. We are Nigeria Info. And head on to social media, okay? X at Nigeria Info PH and Facebook page remains Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. Constance Megas comes into the studio any moment from now for the trends. get chill. Him just they break everything, my dear. Things are meant to be broken, including this table before me, but I will not break it, because if I do, it's gonna come out of my salary. I gotta respect myself. Back to what we were talking about, the morality of purchasing distressed properties. I'm still asking, would you consider taking over distressed properties as preying on struggling individuals and families? Now, I did read the message before we went in the break, and there is a possibility that some of you may not have understood what Joseph was talking about. The hierarchy of relative prepotency simply means, it's actually Maslow's theory. It suggests that we have fundamental needs which are arranged in a hierarchy of relative prepotency. In general, we must mostly satisfy a lower level need before we can focus our attention on a higher level need. So let's assume your lower level need is hunger. How much does it cost to feed now? Maybe with 500 naira you can get a plate of food. You focus on that first before you focus on things like purchasing a vehicle, for instance. You know, the other day I was having a conversation with somebody, and before now, people saw owning a car as luxury. But hey, sometimes if you own your own car, you know that it's not luxury, because it's not luxury to buy fuel at the price we buy fuel. It's not luxury to buy parts when something gets damaged in the car. It has become a necessity for some people to do business and get to their places of work at the appointed or appropriate time. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. I started off by saying that owning a car was among the major list of achievements for a typical Nigerian back then. A typical Nigerian back then. You know, the celebration that hits the air when one is bought knows no bounds. Parents, relatives, and friends are gathered, and, you know, they buy drink, wash drink. They use it to render prayers to various gods to save the life of the car owner and the car itself. However, the situation in the country now is making car owners sell off their cars, at least to feed properly. Economy and Lifestyle discovered that even those who want a car now buy the Nigerian used ones. They wait patiently. You see, this is November. By January, a lot of people will sell off cars. I'm not a prophetess. I'm just telling you the reality. There's a high possibility. Let me put it that way, so that if it does not happen, no one say that I gave fake prophecy. There's a high possibility that a lot more people will sell cars off in January. People that want to leave the country, people that need money to do things urgently. In front of this, my office area, you know how many cars are displayed there every single day looking for buyers. Some of those cars have been there, or nobody they buy them. Because you even start asking yourself, where people they see the money? Where is the money to even buy? So if you're even able to, you know, go and check your savings and you feel like you have some money to buy a distressed property, it seems like you are doing the owner of the property, putting up for sale a lot of good. But what are they selling off? Some are selling off solely to feed properly, to feed themselves, to feed their families. I can't have this property and I'm broke. Hello, let us go and sell. I can't have a 65 inches television in my parlor. I bought that TV for maybe 400 and something. Smart TV. What is kind of TV? And I'm hungry. I should come and be on the television to watch TV. Is it not electricity I use and watch the television? You know? Or am I not going to buy fuel to be able to watch the television? Is that, where did I say money to buy fuel or buy electricity units or pay electricity bill? I'm hungry. TV must go. Distress sale. 65 inches smart TV. Used for only 2 months. Everything complete with warranty and everything. Going for 162,000 naira. And people will buy. I was telling Constance something. Constance was telling me something away from radio that someone bought a touchscreen television, smart TV, for 60,000 naira. Person was looking for how to sell. I know someone who his entire house, when you enter inside, everything in the house is distress sale. The couch is distress sale. TV is distress sale. Dining table distress sale. Car distress sale. The person does wait. The person is not in a rush. I want something today. I want a phone today. And the person says, okay. If I wait for like 2 weeks, by the time I search like this site, sell this thing, sell that thing, I'm gonna get a distress sale phone. And true to his word, he waits. And before I know it, distress sale, iPhone 14 Pro Max. Everything working, battery healthy, charger complete, this one complete, earpiece complete. And they meet up and the person buys. But then again, you do know the original market value. You know that this is worth 10 million naira. You know that this iPhone is worth 1.something million naira. The person is willing to sell for as low as 200, 300,000 naira. Would you consider taking over those properties, those distressed properties, as preying on struggling individuals and families? Or like Constance, who feels like, I've done the person a lot of good, or if you see, you will buy. Now I'm beginning to ask myself if I'll be willing to buy, Who knows? I may not have the money, but then the person needs the money and the person is putting out a property for sale. I didn't tell the person to put out the property for sale. Me buying, helps the person take care of whatever the person needs to take care of. And, I'm thinking like some people now. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003 and 0817-923-0007. WhatsApp and Telegram number remains 0809-030-6416. Black Tribe says, let us all understand the underlying word distress. Everyone goes into a business transaction with the mind to make profit. However, when you are in distress, profit is the last thing on your mind, as you are majorly concerned with meeting the current need and solving whatever issue is at hand. Uche Ken is calling from Eche. Welcome to the sunny side. Go ahead.
Yeah, Didi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, distress sale as a subject matter, I want to look at it from my own dimension.
Okay.
Distress sale, both the buyer and the seller are like landlord and tenants.
Mm.
Landlord builds houses to rent and collect money.
Mm-hmm.
The tenant have money but does not have a house.
Okay.
So the tenant needs something at that point in time, likewise the landlord.
Okay.
So they make an exchange. Then in time of distress pain is involved. But let me tell us, when you go to my tree and purchase a bag of rice, 30,000 naira, bring it down to your house, you don't enter second hand. You cannot sell it at that 30,000 again. So for people to buy it, that mentality has gone viral. For people to buy it, they will say, na 30 buy, na 31 make I buy. They wouldn't want to ask at that point in time what might have prompted you to sell it. But what will be ringing in their memory is na second hand. And you will be forced to sell it 25,000. Are you telling me that when I see a bag of rice 25,000 while it is sold 30,000, I shouldn't buy? Should I go ahead asking the seller what prompted or what my Samai is selling? In most cases, those questions are not relevant. So someone who decided to sell his goods or her goods fell into trouble and needed to solve it. And another person has money to give to you to solve your problem. If I see, I go buy. Like I take a bag.
Wow. Wow. It's not. Sometimes it may seem fair if you're buying it at the asking price. But when you know it's 8 million naira and the person is putting out for 3 million naira and you still go and price the person 1 million naira and the person desperately needs money and sells at 1 million naira. Think about it. Just think a little bit about it. A message on Facebook says, Chukwumadimpa says, the law of demand and supply exists in any market, regardless of the time. Ida from Unkoro, welcome to the sunny side. Ida, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you for this topic. There are things you buy directly, will take it to prison. Most time, if you have the money to help the person, you borrow the person to relieve that person from that stress. Because most times I've seen where somebody bought phone phone of 500,000. Person want to sell it for 100,000. And the person is pricing 30,000 naira. The person needs 80,000. The person sold this phone for the person. 3 days time, he traced that phone to Lagos bus stop and arrested that person, taken to cell. You know how much he spent? It's over 1 million to bail the person. So most times, this stress or not this self, you mind what to buy. Thank you very much. God bless you. I'll be back from Nkoro.
All right, thank you too. I think Tonya from Okrika called back. Hi, Tonya. Welcome.
Yes, good afternoon, sister.
Good afternoon to you, brother.
My dear, my take from this discussion, the economic situation in the country, let us consider it very well. That if something is not done, something terrible will happen in the nearest future. Now we are talking about properties and properties. Property right now, we consider it something that will help us for now. But my sister, I tell you, if something is not done, a time will come that we will start eating up our children.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the high cost of price, even consider the fuel. Right now, how much are we buying it? Consider it to what we used to buy. Something needs to be done. When the last administration was on, we were thinking it is worse. We were expecting something good. But at the end of the day, what we have is worse than what we had.
Okay. Wow. We have to round up this conversation at this point. After I read the final message, Didi, some things are not our business. Some women are selling ogbono in the market or akara by the roadside because their financial situation is not ideal. Do we ask them why? Anonymous, send that in. Oh well. Rightness and wrongness. You see that balance? Some of us may not be able to balance it. You know, that's why some of you will say life, no balance. The extent to which an action is right or wrong is sometimes dependent on those involved. The person offering the property for sale may not see it as wrong. If you don't buy and you have their money to buy, the person may see you as you're not helping. Okay? And now you want to buy, but you know that thing is what you're paying for is nothing close to its original value. But then you have the money to give. So who tells you whether you're right or whether you're wrong? Is the seller complaining? From the seller's perspective, it is right. From your perspective, it may be right. But to those people who are watching and seeing, it may be either right or wrong. Final message says, the Ethiopia government is aware of all this and they're spending money on SUVs. Story for another day. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. We're going to commercial break after that. His story, and we'll be back for the final hour to talk about beauty and attraction from a male's perspective. I'm Denise Dennis Walu. Just stay tuned to us.
Going on a vacation or a business trip?